Hi everyone. We are going to do a project today that's called a Snuffle Mat, and that's an enrichment item that we like to use with the dogs. Kind of helps them to both get a treat and work their brain at the same time. So the things that you are going to need, first of all, this is what a Snuffle Mat looks like. It is just kind of like a shag rug kind of a thing, but made with fleece. And then we hide the food particles in there, and they have to work at hunting and searching for all the food pieces. The items that you're going to need to make this are, the supply list is, you need 1.5 yards of fleece fabric, a sink mat, and the type that have the holes in it like this are ideal because that's how you're going to weave the fleece pieces into the sections. And also tape measure for measuring, scissors, and if you have quilting tools, those can work as well. So the next step is we're going to prepare the fleece into the strips that we need for tying on. I have it on a quilting board just because it has the inch increments, and I'm going to cut the strips in inch. I've read different things that they can be up to 2 inches, but I find the 1 inch works pretty well. So I am just going to hand cut this with a regular scissors, which is totally okay. Again, if you have any quilting equipment, using the rotary blade tends to make it a little easier and quicker and probably easier on your hand in the long run, but both methods work just fine. But I tend to go a lot straighter when I use this. So I will cut one that way for you as well. Do be careful with the rotary blade though. Make sure your fingers are out of the way. All right, so we have our long strips, and the next step that we're going to do is to be cutting these into 7-inch increments, and that's what we're going to be weaving onto the mat that we showed you. I will still use my board here because it helps me to measure it out pretty easily, and I'm just snipping it into the 7-inch increments then. And that one's just a tad bit long, so we'll just snip a little off of that. It does not have to be perfect. They're just going to be weaved into the mat, and the dogs are going to be eating, so exact isn't always necessary. This is very thin on this particular type, so we're cutting it off. This one is just as thick as the remainder of the fabric, so it's not necessary on that one. But on this one, I am getting rid of it so the dogs don't have as easy a time of chewing on it, was my thought. And that's it. Okay, now we are ready. Our strips are all cut. As you can see, that's the 1.5 yards of fleece fabric cut into 1-inch by 7-inch strips. And we are now going to start weaving them onto our mats. So the mats, these particular mats are about 11 inches by 12.5. I got these through Amazon. What's important is that they have these holes already cut in them, and this size square hole is really good because when you begin your weaving, you're gonna be putting more than just one strip through each hole. So you need to have the space to fit enough fabric through each hole. We've kind of demoed a couple here. First of all, I want you to see, it's just kind of a random pattern. I mean, if you wanted to, you could be very creative and have one row, one color, and the other another. We have more of the blue fabric than the red, so we're just kind of randomly placing it and putting the red here and there. So this is already woven through that hole. I'm going to put the second one in that same hole, and then the other end in the hole next to it. And I'll flip it over, and I'm just going to tie it once, and that seems to be sufficient to hold it in place. Pull on it a little bit so it's snugged in there good. As you put the other directions in, it's going to fill it fuller and kind of hold it together. So that is the front side. This one I did a little bit different so that you could see. So I started using the blue going downward in that row and the red this way so that you could see you're utilizing the same hole for multiple pieces. So I'm going to do this one right here, the next row, and I'll do it with the red so you can see. So I am going this is the back side. So I'm going down through that one, pulling it through to the front, and then I'll put the other end right next door. Then I'm flipping it over and tying those ends once. So it'll start to fill in and get denser like this one is. So the next row I'm going to do blue again, and again I'm going to put it from, I'm using the back side now, putting that through to the front, through the hole that I've already filled with the other red strip, and then through the next hole down, flip it over. Okay, so it's starting to fill in. And again, you can be creative and make some kind of pattern in there. You can use whatever color fabric. It can be solid, it can be print. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you like and whatever you think goes together is perfect. And these are completed Snuffle pads. So it's nice and dense, almost like a shag kind of a carpet. And so that gives us the ability then to kind of tuck the food or snacks down in the weave here so that the dogs really have to work at finding it. So it's a good hunting kind of, uses their natural abilities. You can put pretty much whatever you like in the Snuffle pad. I have regular dog kibble, I have Zooks, Cheerios, and these beef strip type things. These I would break up into small pieces. You do want to stop and think about the calories involved when you're doing this. So if sometimes I'll save a portion of a meal from breakfast and maybe do this in the middle of the day. And but use what calories are appropriate for your dog. Even with my older dog, I'm using more of a weight maintenance type kibble to cut down on calories. And the kitty's going to join in the festivities, I think. So I'm going to put a little bit of everything in here, and what you want to do is kind of really poke it down into close to the base of where the mat is so that they really have to work at finding the food. And if it's a younger dog that maybe doesn't quite know what to do, maybe leaving stuff a little bit more towards the surface that they kind of get the idea of how to, what the game is. Hello, Dawson. Excuse me.
No.
I saw that.
No?
No,
He wants the Zook.
He wants a Zook. Here you go. Today. It's more fun when you steal it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Okay, I think these are ready, and I just kind of wiggle it all in there. And we have two very anxious pooches down here awaiting their delicious snack. So I'm going to place these on the floor. Ready?
So now they're going to see.
The hunt is on.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed the video on how to make a Snuffle Mat and how to fill it and enrich your dog's activities and environment for the day. You guys have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you again on PPH Alaska.